Hi, James. I'm really grateful to you for taking some time to talk about your work with the federal government here. Could you tell me a bit more about what you're doing at AAFC?
Sure. I have the great fortune of being the manager of Agri-Geomatics, a group that does our enterprise GIS. And we're
Okay.
also paired off with a number of other groups that look at soil science and remote sensing and climate. Sure. Well, when this pandemic started, I wasn't sure how GIS and our group was going to get involved, but it became very clear early on that, from producers, manufacturers, processors, wholesalers, and retailers, all these things are located in a place and they move things, and GIS was just a perfect tool to analyze flows and understand traffic of these items and where things and people were in relation to food. I think the government's been doing a great job. Sometimes our systems aren't the most modern. However, with our particular system, we'd already moved to the cloud with ArcGIS Online starting in 2012. So we were well positioned to respond quickly with cloud-based products. Yeah, this was our first time using the hub product as that centralized place for the true destination for everyone to go to find the products. It's someone, I think in Esri, calls it the glue that holds all the information products together, the hub product. So instead of just giving folks the URL to our ArcGIS Online homepage, in this case, we were directing everybody directly to that hub page where they could find the map journals, dashboards, web maps, and apps in that central place.
Yeah, having everything in that one central place we found has done a lot of good for our customers from a collaboration perspective internally with our customers, but also to enable stakeholders, different departments to collaborate together.
Well, I think we're still playing out that particular scenario, and the benefit of having that multidisciplinary team is we were able to work alongside the policy analysts and the people in the market industry services branch who really have an in-depth knowledge of the industry and its impact. So, we were understanding the flows and backlogs of poultry products. Obviously, people not eating out in restaurants as much and not going to wing night Wednesdays, etc. It caused a bit of a surplus, if you will, in that. Early on, we looked at potato distribution, people not eating French fries in restaurants as well. There was all kinds of industries were affected in different ways. We looked at temporary foreign workers and are still looking at temporary foreign workers as the harvest will come on for certain products. We're watching the horticulture area very closely, and then so using backbone information from the Census of Agriculture, we know where these crops are, we know where temporary foreign workers are, and we know where processing plants are. So really combining that with the COVID information to understand hotspots was a big part of the project. Yeah, this was a big part of the project as well, and our analytics group headed by Tamira Rounce really dove deep into this to try and, with the policy analysts and industry experts, to try and define what a vulnerable person might be and where large numbers of vulnerable people could be. So you can imagine that it sort of coexists with larger populations like in South Ontario, but we took a list of criteria. Families with children that had a lone parent. We looked at families with children under 19. We looked at labor force unemployment, those that were renting versus buying houses, those that identified as Aboriginal, low incomes, just looking at straight median income, total visible minorities, and we looked at education, and we combined all those values together and normalized them and mapped them out to show some predictive analytics on where these populations are and could be most adversely affected by the pandemic. In our group, we've had what's called the geo dataset lifecycle for a few decades now, and that's really the backbone of our processes to store information. And this has been another great example of how GIS is really at the forefront of data management, at least in our organization, and I think in many other organizations leading the charge of understanding, because we've been at this for a while. We were working with lots of people that were grabbing certain data sets, and we were able to get them with them, help them with the negotiations to get the data set. Then once it was brought in-house, we were able to manage it in one place, centralize it, and then distribute it across the networks to everybody that needed access to it. Mm-hmm. One example is we had some retail scanner data from a particular company where it would come into one analyst every week, and it would take 2 to 3 days for them to process it and make a couple of PowerPoint slides. We built a data pipeline with the data interoperability toolkit from Esri and FME to take that data, ingest it, and it comes in weekly, and it would be immediately displayed in 3 or 4 different dashboards that would be distributed to hundreds of folks that could immediately gain insights from that information, rather than just coming through to that one particular policy analyst. So a bit of a game changer in terms of provisioning more information to more people to gain more insights. Yes, the Local Food Infrastructure Fund is a program from Agriculture Canada, and they were actually already looking at doing some mapping, and we were able to team up with them to understand where their funds were distributed in their first round of funding. And we're now working quite closely with them through this project to try and just take a look at where the first round went and target other areas perhaps that got missed, or even understand why other applicants maybe didn't apply. Maybe it was a communications thing, and who could really, where those vulnerable populations are, and maybe we can combine different data sets to gain some insights to make the program more efficient and better. So that's it's a great use of GIS. We've been involved with programs in the past, and we're excited to be working with that particular group for the future. For me, I think it's a great time to be in GIS and data and analytics. More and more people across the government are becoming data literate. They're interested in data visualizations, and I say this to my wonderful team all the time. It's like we've got the juice, right? We've done this. We know what we're doing, and we're focused on creating value right away. So with the Esri product line, there's not usually a developer in the middle. We're able to configure these COTS products and turn out really valuable products in hours. And that is why we're creating value on day one when someone wants to, get together and work with us. And we can turn things around quite quickly because we've been doing this for a long time. And generally speaking, people are quite impressed with the things we can do in a short amount of time. And that drives more business and more interest in the things that we do.
That's really great to hear. To hear the evolution of GIS to performing analytics, and then to provide some location intelligence to run businesses and more effective businesses. So that's really great to hear. And I think you and your team at Agri-Canada are doing an excellent job utilizing the platform and utilizing the capabilities that ArcGIS can provide. And I wish you the best. And thank you for taking the time to spend talking about this with us.
Well, thanks very much. It's our pleasure.